You're watching Cartel TV and I'm Amelia. And guess what? Today's my birthday and all I want is for you to subscribe to our channel. Have you done it? Good. The new Hyundai Venue. Well, it tells us a few things right off the bat.
First of all, the SUV segment is taking over even the very entry-level market, since the Venue is set to replace the Accent as the entry-level Hyundai on offer in Australia.
Secondly, Hyundai just keep raising that bar, and should the Venue prove to be worth the extra price over the Ascent, it could just end up being the leading subcompact here in Oz.
Some of the claim also comes from the fact that it is a bit cheaper than its most common rival here, the CX-3.
That means it could be the entry to the SUV range for many whose budgets can only let them aim towards small city hatchbacks. So that's really good news for those who like SUVs, which, according to the stats, is most of us. Lastly, Hyundai seem to have run out of fancy car names, so now they're just going with random words. Venue, next they might just have tree, lamppost. The version of the Venue that I have here is the Active trim, the second of 3, or 4 if you count the launch edition.
The entry-level version is called Go, and the top regular one is called Elite. As you go up on the trim ladder, you can customise the interior and exterior extensively.
Makes me kind of sad I have the Active.
I've seen the Elite and it looks awesome, especially on the inside.
I'll get to that, but let's look at the body first.
It is subcompact, so pretty small. With a length of just over 4 metres, the Venue is a real city buzzer, but it also manages to look reasonably nice.
It is pretty boxy, but you know what? That's a design trend that I actually like because it translates to more interior space on the inside and a more airy kind of feeling when you're in there.
The front resembles a toned down Kona with sleek lights, front lights emphasised by these bezels, and the grille looks very nice.
The side is the most prominent example of this boxy idea with just a few strategically placed bends, including these fairly obvious wheel arches.
The line that flows just under the door handles is pretty high up, which also adds to the attempt to make this subcompact look bulky. This one has 15-inch wheels, and they would be my choice for the comfort perspective, but the 17-inch ones on the Elite look a lot better.
All in all, it's not the best looking vehicle, but my practical side helps me to kind of appreciate the boxiness, and you might too once we have a look inside the interior.
Whichever trim you go for, you get a 1.6 litre naturally aspirated petrol.
It's very familiar to us, which is a euphemism for old, but you know what? It's a good thing. It means it's reliable, cheap, and easy to maintain.
This little 1.6 litre produces 90 kilowatts of power and 151 newton metres of torque, the latter available from 4,850 revs. Official combined fuel consumption figure is at 7 litres per 100 k's. It is mated to a 6-speed automatic in this vehicle, although there is also a manual option on all but the Elite.
As I said, this is the only available engine option in Australia right now, but I dare say the Venue will get some more modern engine options later down the track. But again, that probably really depends on the sales.
Now, if the power numbers seem low, you should know you will also need to go push it harder to get them. That should be easier in the manual version since the automatic aims to get the best fuel efficiency most of the time.
The engine has nice linear acceleration, but it is limited by the power figures. The automatic is, thank goodness, a proper automatic as opposed to a CVT.
If you opt for the automatic, you also get a drive mode and traction control selector. Its normal, eco and sport modes adjust the throttle response. The 3 traction modes are called snow, mud and sand, and well, you can guess what they're for.
But in saying that the Venue is an underwhelming engine with underwhelming specs on paper, it's actually kind of fun to drive.
It must be because of its low weight. The car feels nimble and precise, and the boxy petite shape adds to the confidence.
Aussie suspension tune actually makes a bit of difference. It hides some of the imperfections we have here, and it also allows for a bit of body lean when you get into a curve at higher speed.
Combined with the precise, albeit a little bit too light steering, short wheelbase and low weight, that would be awesome for a bit of fun on some twisting roads.
And I imagine if Hyundai added some zestier engine options down the line, then this could be a real little winner. Imagine a Venue N.
But all that I said about the drive so far is basically irrelevant.
The Venue will be used as a small city car holding 1 or 2 people at a time, used to run city errands, and probably not going over 80 kilometres an hour.
For that, it is just perfect, and the familiarity and reliability of the engine will be more than welcome at the expense of better acceleration that shoots up to about 50 kilometres per hour 1 second faster than this one, before you have to brake for the next traffic light.
Thinking from a driving enthusiast perspective, this engine is lacking. Thinking through the perspective of someone looking for this kind of car, it's just perfect.
The Venue is a nice car to be in, but that is not the first thing that surprises when you get inside. It actually looks bigger on the inside than the outside. The front has more space than an average person will ever need, and even the rear is okay.
But before that, let me tell you about the perks here at the front. The driving position is great, there's plenty of space, everything is intuitively laid out, and everything is at hand.
The 8-inch screen is standard across the range, and it comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It is also positioned very well, both in terms of usability and design.
It is worth noting that only the Elite version gets sat-nav, but in all versions you get the Apple CarPlay, so as long as you've got your phone and a cord, then you're okay.
As I already said, space is not lacking, so designers had a bit of freedom to make the interior more enticing.
Would I call it better than the ones in the CX-3 or HR-V? No, but I'd just call it different.
Expectedly, the materials are less than plush with lots of plastic, but that is no worse than any of the competitors. What is good is how well the fit and finish look. There are lots of storage spaces, including this little tray in front of the passenger, a bigger one in front of the gear stick, 2 cup holders up front and bottle holders in the doors.
Of course, there is a glove box and the central console bin under the armrest.
What is lacking is rear armrest and cup holders.
Rear seats are okay though.
2 adults will not love the space, but it will be sufficient, which is more than most subcompacts can boast, and we could squeeze a 6'6" basketballer back there.
The headroom really is excellent, and those angular lines really help a lot. The legroom is pretty good. For 2 adults on a long trip, you'd be fine. For the 3rd adult though, I mean, just don't. But look, if you are driving with 4 or 5 adults regularly, you should really be looking beyond a subcompact.
Children, on the other hand, will have enough space. What they may not like is the fact that there are no air vents or chargers in the back. And this does not only stand for the active trim, but the Elite also. There is 355 litres of space in the boot, which is among the class leaders. It is actually just a few litres smaller than the one in the Kona, which is a one size larger vehicle.
The reason for this is the rear suspension setup, which allows for a low boot floor to free up lots of space. Now the downside of this is you do get this load lip.
It's really not too bad, and it is an acceptable trade-off for the extra space.
This opening is nice and wide. I love that. And the rear seats fold 60-40 to free up lots of space.
They don't fold completely flat, but close enough. If the base Go trim is bland in terms of looks and perks, it is certainly good on the safety front. You get cruise control, ABS, brake assist, EBD, traction control, hill start assist, vehicle stability management, driver attention warning, forward collision avoidance assist with pedestrian detection, high beam assist, lane keep assist, manual speed limit, rear view camera, tyre pressure monitors and rollover sensor.
The Active that I have here comes with all the mentioned perks and adds reverse parking distance warning with guidance display.
The Elite gets blind spot collision warning and rear cross traffic collision warning. What the car lacks in all trims is cyclist detection for the forward collision avoidance system, and this may be the reason why it may lose 1 star on the ANCAP test once it's done.
As I said, the Venue aims at the entry-level market, but ups the price of the previous entry-level offering, while at the same time lowering the price of the SUV range.
A manual Venue Go will cost just over 22k drive away. An Auto Active starts at just under 26k, and the really nice one, the Elite, commands an even higher price, creeping up to 30k. And if you are thinking of buying the Venue, make sure you check out Clever Buys, the no haggle, no hassle way of buying a new car.
Hyundai has certainly been doing things right for the past few years, and its brand is really on the constant rise, which can only increase its desirability and resale value.
This means a Venue has a nice chance, despite the price, but the only real judges are the buyers.
However, it does aim at a pretty high target in this segment, which is a CX-3, giving it a bigger boot and undercutting the price. I'm really looking forward to seeing how popular the Venue will become. What do you think?